I love you, Johnny Tucker. You know, you don't have to buy this book, but take a look on your way out. There's 3 photos of me anticipating my suicide. They kind of pose it. In one, I'm even naked, but they cut my penis. Well, maybe it was not there. I don't. Anyway, there we go. All right, let's get this done with here. Thanks for coming. Thanks everybody. Cassandra Bloomgarten is a tabloid reporter. In this scene, she's stuck babysitting 7 annoying kids in order to get a story. She's also visiting her sister, and they're standing above their mother's grave. And for years, the two have been estranged. This is kind of a truncated excerpt of a truncated excerpt, so if things are missing or something, you know, bear with me. The idea of being adopted, or more specifically, the selfless generosity of a complete stranger named Rodmilla Bloomgarten swelled up and smacked me like a tsunami. I was standing 6 feet above a dead woman who had arbitrarily snatched me from a destitute life in an orphanage halfway around the world, long before Angelina, Madonna, or even Mia had made it popular and brought me to this land of excess where everyone was given more than enough rope to hang themselves. She had nourished my self-esteem and sense of fairness, provided me with ample opportunity to use my intellect, and always encouraged my ambition. I wasn't sure at exactly what point one had to stop blaming the parents and take responsibility for oneself. But at that moment I realized that it was I who had turned myself into an alcoholic, divorced tabloid reporter, not she. But I also felt like I was finally on some long, freaky road to recovery. Barely was I able to sniffle before the shrill cacophony of another woman's children alerted me to the fact that the 7 goblins I was stuck with were defacing the graves of other dead parents, knocking mournfully placed pebbles off neighboring headstones. "Back in the goddamn car," I screamed. By the time my sister and I had squeezed all those little sardines back into my dented can on wheels, I could see that there were tears in her eyes too. "It's okay," I said, trying to console her. "I'm not crying because of Mom. I'm crying because of you. Me. You're a sister, but you were always different, and we were always sort of scared of you." "Why were you scared of me?" I asked, acutely aware of being the adopted one in the family. "Because you were most like her." "Like who?" "Mom, you ninny. Give me a break. You were the only one who stood up to her, and she hated you, and she hated that. We remember those awful fights. We should have stood up with you, and now we're all grown up, and you're not a part of the family, and it shouldn't be this way. Life passes so quickly," and she broke down completely, and hard as I tried to fight it, so did I. "Look, I'll be back soon. I'll come back for the unveiling." That was when they put the headstone on the grave. She gave me a hug that nearly cracked my spine, and that was it. No sooner had I started driving away than Floyd Jr., the oldest boy, yelled, "10 Mars bars! You owe me 10 Mars bars!" "Me too," cried another. "That woman touched me all over. That food was totally yucky." Slowly, and in their own white trash, illiterate, pre-adolescent way, all pitched in their complaints. "Fine, fine, fine, fine," I said, feeling too good to let their nagging bother me. Not only was I now a confirmed pro-lifer, I firmly believe that every drip of homeless sperm should be indiscriminately paired up with each forcibly harvested egg, regardless of how deformed or inbred or genetically challenged the donors were. The great pageantry of mankind needed to literally burst off the globe so that from space our planet would look like a giant brown, black, red, yellow, pink flower of human skin. I didn't care if oceans needed to be drained, mountains had to be flattened, or polar caps required melting. Every inch of the planet had to be converted to living space. Love would save the Earth from global warming and whatever else. If panda bears, blue whales, and condors had to undergo extinction to make room for more nurseries and playgrounds, so be it. If great paintings from the Louvre and Hermitage had to be recycled into diapers, so much the better. All parents were absolutely right. It was a bottomless well of ceaseless joy. Cancer researchers, dilettante poets, great world leaders, and busy philanthropists, all jobs were a very distant second to the most important job in the world of being a mommy.
Up next is James Greer, who is also here from Los Angeles. And a couple months back, we published his second novel, The Failure. And we also published his debut novel a few years ago called Artificial Light. They're both wonderful novels. He is also the author of a nonfiction book about the band Guided by Voices, a rock band in which he actually played for a period. He also spends time, I think probably more time these days, writing screenplays. And he has been working tirelessly on behalf of promoting his book, which is something we really, really appreciate. And it's great to have him here, so Jim, come on up.
Thanks, Johnny. That was really sweet. I forgot what you said already, but it turns out that, you know, Akashic was the one thing they were missing on their list was an alcoholic reclusive wasp from New England, and then Salinger died. So people tell me, they say, Jim, why should I buy your book instead of all these much better written books that are out there these days? And I answer, I say, well, do these other much better books, some of which we've heard tonight, contain within them the secret of life? Can they break your heart and mend it in the course of one paragraph? Can they solve three important world problems simply by the act of reading them? Well, neither can this book, but it's funny. It's called The Failure. It's about two guys who conceive and badly execute a plan to rob a Korean check cashing store in LA in order to fund the prototype for an internet application called Pandemonium that does not work. This chapter is number 30 of 48. They're told in random order. It begins at the end and ends at the middle, and I don't know where the ending is. So this chapter is called Squirrel versus Cat, a discussion in the probably stolen car between Guy and Billy in the parking lot of the Korean check cashing place 1 hour before the Korean check cashing fiasco. Let me ask you a question, said Guy. Who do you think would win in a fight between a squirrel and a cat? Well, it depends on the cat, obviously, said Billy, but in general, the cat. I had a cat once used to kill squirrels and bring them back to the house as presents or trophies or something. I don't mean a regular fight, said Guy. Sorry, very important. Guy and Billy. This is Guy. I don't mean a regular fight. I mean if the squirrel was on a skateboard and had a little helmet on, like a Roman centurion's helmet, except squirrel size, and you pushed the skateboard squirrel towards the cat, who was maybe asleep, and you filmed the whole thing on a camcorder and posted it on a website. Which website? Asked Billy. You're missing the point, said Guy. I really wish we didn't have to go through with this, sighed Billy. Well, your wishes are the engine that will drive this economy out of its present recession, said Guy. I'm not sure that's true, but thanks. You always read about these crazy revolutionary ideas that were funded by eccentric millionaires, said Guy, or billionaires, added Billy. Well, I tell you what, and you can have this idea for free after Pandemonium takes off. Someone should start a website that lists names and contact info of eccentric millionaires and billionaires, added Billy. Well, it might be harder to get the proper information with billionaires, especially eccentric ones. I have a feeling they're probably pretty reclusive. Like Howard Hughes, said Billy. Well, I mean, he's like the Suma of eccentric billionaires. In the movie The Plane Magnet, the actor who played Hughes invested him with a number of tics, even as a young man. He had some form of obsessive-compulsive disorder, clearly, for which they have medications now, said Billy. Well, they have medications for everything, said Guy. That's why everyone's so ordinary. Do you think so? Well, don't get me wrong, said Guy. I'm not anti-meds. At this very moment, I'm on 2 different kinds of anti-anxiety medicine. Wow. Yes, but this is important. Medications are only useful when abused. Drugs are only any good to anyone when you take too many or too much of one kind. In other words, when you derive some pleasure from them. Otherwise, what's the point? Well, I'm sure there are some people who really do need them, said Billy, you know, to function. Function? Why function? Who needs more functioning human beings? It's really quite astounding, if you ask me, the sheer quantity of normal in the world today. I think that's the real horror of modern life. All the more reason for pandemonium, said Billy, which is, by the way, the name of the internet application that doesn't work. Sorry, interjection. You know, if only more people had your attitude, said Guy. Not everyone, obviously, because we need and have always needed a certain number of normals, but ye gods, you walk down the street, well, of course, you don't walk down the street. Nobody walks down the street in Los Angeles. Obviously, that was a cliche even before it was a ridiculous new wave pop song by a terrible new wave band. But you go somewhere like a shopping mall where there's just tons of people, and what do you see? Shopping, said Billy. Shopping, exactly. Most normal thing in the world. Crowds of normals, bunched together like blood cells, moving in rhythm to some great biomechanical heart under the streets or up in the sky. Did you just start calling them normals? Asked Billy. Pretty much. Good, because I don't remember you using that word before, and I was worried about losing my mind. Of course you were. Well, everyone worries about losing his mind at some point, don't they? Asked Billy. No. No, they don't. And to think I was beginning to trust you. You don't trust me, said Billy, eyeing Guy incredulously. I do. I do trust you. Except when I don't, which is, and don't get angry, sometimes. Sometimes you don't trust me. Why? It's hard to put into words, Billy. No, it's not, Guy. I know why you don't trust me. You do. It's because I'm black. It's... Wow. Admit that you don't trust me because I'm black. Well, Billy, if you're going to back me into a corner like that, okay, I don't trust you because A, you're an incompetent, idiotic, untrustworthy fuck-up, and B, you actually believe you're black. I am. I'm part African-American. Which part? Your lungs? Your kidneys? Skin color has nothing to do with it. Black is an outlook. In your case, it would seem to be an overlook, said Guy. That's you being racist. That's me being not insane, Billy. Just because we hired a black president, it does not mean every citizen of this nation gets to call himself black. It doesn't work that way. Your racism colors everything you say, said Billy. Pun intended. If I were you, I wouldn't advertise that pun. You're saying it was a bad pun, said Billy. Yes. You're saying African Americans are no good at puns. That's precisely what I'm saying. If by African Americans you mean you and you only, and by puns you mean that last really bad pun. I won't let you box me in, said Billy. Okay? I'm saying you can't box me in. I get it. Are you trying to write a song? Why? You don't think I could write a song, said Billy? Well, I never gave it much thought, honestly, said Guy. Well, by your tyrannical European standards of harmony and the well-tempered piano and so on, you don't even know what well-tempered means, interrupted Guy, but by the rhythmic innovations of my forebears... Are you descended from bears, said Guy? What? I thought you just said you were descended from bears. I'm sorry. Why would I say that? I'm just saying what I thought you said, said Guy. I'm not inside your head. I don't know why you say half the things you say. Are any humans descended from bears? I don't think so, said Guy. Maybe. I'm not a scientist. That would be pretty neat, though, don't you think? Neat? Hell yeah, it would be neat. I mean, we might still have some residual bear characteristics, said Billy. Maybe that's why I like salmon so much. I've never even seen you eat salmon, said Guy. You've never seen me eat anything but burritos, practically. That's a question of affordability, not taste. Okay, so you like salmon. I love salmon. It's probably my favorite kind of seafood. All right, well, you better trim your claws. What? I'm just saying, watch out for some, if you have residual bear characteristics, that would probably manifest in extremely fast-growing, sharp fingernails. You could cut yourself. Billy examines his fingernails carefully. They do grow fast. You see? Billy flashed his teeth at Goy, Goy. Talk about a Freudian slip. Billy flashed his teeth at Guy, who recoiled in horror. Why would you do that, said Guy. Did you see anything Fang-like? I'm actually blind now. Seriously, said Billy. No, seriously, I didn't look, and I'm not going to look. This is why God invented the mirror. I don't trust mirrors, said Billy. Of course you don't, said Guy.